Dion, you have claimed yourself as a Kentucky guy before, and with that being taken into consideration, I gotta ask, did this game have you nervous at all? Like either at the start or even like second half when Troy was hanging around a little bit? Like how did you feel going through the emotions of a game that maybe didn't start out the way Kentucky fans expected it to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the game started out the way Kentucky fans expected it to, but I was comfortable the whole time. I mean, Troy shot 25% from three. They had 11 turnovers, 34% from the field. Kentucky beat them in every category.
Hmm.
If this was an 8-9 matchup, then no one cares about what Troy did. Because it had the Cinderella aspect to it, Troy hanging around in a game where they were down by 8+ for the majority of it,
Hmm.
felt like it was magnified. In the seeding, it really was the result. It really like lended more to the idea of like, oh, is Kentucky in trouble more so than the actual game did, in my opinion. I thought Kentucky controlled it. I don't want to say start to finish, but close to start to finish. Amari Williams struggled early, but found his rhythm late. They got something in Colin Chandler, by the way.
We
I
can talk
don't
about
know what
Colin
it is,
Chandler. Yeah, I like Colin Chandler.
but they got something in Colin Chandler. Brandon Garrison kind of helped him out early on when Amari was struggling.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, Amari, I guess he kind of struggled the whole game, but like he was really struggling in the beginning. And then Otega did what Otega does. I'm very
Hmm.
curious if Otega comes back next year, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's enjoy the moment. We're on to the second round.
Great answer. I would say the same. In some ways, I think it felt a little bit similar to the Auburn Alabama State game. I covered that one with Ralph, and for way too long in that one, I was like, dude, why can't Auburn just pull away from Alabama State? And then you look up and they're up 18, 19 points. I think sometimes we can get so focused on the spread. Like for me, with my team, I'm like, man, if we're playing a bad team, we better beat them by 20 plus. When sometimes it's like, you're not going to beat every mid-major by over 20 points. And I think a 19-point win you take it with you and you run it to the bank. And even looking at Troy, like they've been a defensive minded team for really Scott Cross's entire tenure there. And even looking at someone like Connerway, who was the Sun Belt Player of the Year this past season, he was more known as like a defensive guy early on in his career because he can create havoc with the steals and everything. So even when you look at the slow start for Kentucky, it kind of makes sense just based on what Troy does. And like the Sun Belt is by no means a terrible league. It's not like you were in a dogfight with an NEC school or an Ohio Valley school or something. It's a team with talent that's well coached. But like you were saying, even throughout the first half when Kentucky was started out cold from the field and everything, couldn't really get anything going on offense. You would see the skill level of guys like Andrew Carr, Brandon Garrison, even Williams. I know he only shot 2 for 8, but he had that thunderous dunk in the first half where it's like, oh yeah, Troy doesn't really have an answer for this. They don't really have an answer for guys with this size who have that skill level, who can dribble, who can make passing reads, and who can finish above the rim. And that I think is, ultimately you combine that with ten made threes and some pretty good defense down the stretch against Troy, and you feel you can leave this one feeling pretty good about yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at what happened in this game, right? Lamont Butler was not good,
Yeah.
to say the least.
But it was
Amari
also like,
Williams.
well, yeah, finish. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. I was gonna say Amari Williams struggled. Ansley Almanor didn't give you much, and granted, he has a little Rodney Rice in him, but when Ansley gets going, it's special.
It really
Uh,
is.
It really is. Like when he gets going, he's a bucket and a half, and they were able to survive. You got 30 minutes out of Andrew Carr. I think that's important too. Where it's
Mhm.
just like, okay, how healthy are we? Maybe we
Right.
are pretty healthy.
Yeah, to your point, all I was going to say about Butler, it was good to see him play 25 minutes in this one, just knowing he's been dealing with that shoulder injury for what feels like forever. Didn't play against Alabama, only played 8 minutes in the game prior to that. To even where I know he was 0 for 5, but it was, if you're looking for positives here for a Kentucky fan, at least he did his thing where he like gets into the paint, collapses a defense, and creates for others. He had a really nice dish to, I think it was the only three that Brandon Garrison made this game. And it was like, okay, that looks a little bit like the Lamont Butler we saw in the non-conference, who was
Mhm.
sort of having this late career breakout that will give me some optimism that like the offense will come back to him just now that he's on the court, now that he's like running the team again.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic if you're a Kentucky fan about the health of this roster.
Hmm.
And if they get healthy, that's a team no one wants to play, and no one has wanted to play the whole year for what it's worth. We really didn't see the decline in Kentucky until the injuries kicked in. When
Right.
healthy, they were very, very special.
And it's the perfect time to, man. I miss like November Kentucky was special. November Kentucky was like played this gorgeous brand of basketball. They had all these just psychopath 25-year-olds who were dogging dudes and chirping while they did it. Injuries came into play, and I do wonder like just getting Mont back out there. Like I called him Mont. I know that's what the Kentucky fans call him. Getting Mont back out there was huge for us. And yeah, you just hope that Carr can come back to sustaining the play that we saw from him earlier in the season as well. And pointing to Mark Pope as this offensive mastermind who's able to pull out the best of these players who have many of whom been around the block, have played at multiple schools, or didn't necessarily have the best tenure at their previous location. But yeah, one of those dudes who has not been around the block is freshman Colin Chandler, who just kind of impresses me most of the time he takes the court. I don't know if it's because like he's a shooter from Utah, so I'm like, oh, maybe this is the next Richie Saunders who's just gonna blow up under Mark Pope. But he's 9 for his last 19 from beyond the arc, 47% over his past 5 games. I think that's huge for a Kentucky team where you still feel like you're not entirely sure when Lamont's offense is going to come back. Brea was great in this game, but he's had some quiet ones as well. To just have another weapon that you can throw out there who's got good size and a good shot like that, those are the type of players who sometimes can like randomly swing a game in the tournament.
Yeah, yeah, they have a lot of dudes that could randomly swing a game because I
That's
love Colin
true.
Chandler. Travis Perry could go get one in his own right.
Hmm.
Like Travis Perry in his own right could go get one. I mean, I know he didn't really do anything in this game. However, like Travis Perry can shoot the ball. And if you let him get out there and he makes two or three threes, that might be the loudest 9 points of the tournament.
You want to know how many times Travis Perry's made three threes in a game this season, Dion?
I once.
Zero. But he's made two threes a couple times in a game, so he'll give you the loudest 6 points in the tournament. But I love the belief in Travis.
Yeah, he's gonna go get him one. Gonna go get him one. Who do they play in the next round?
Oh gosh, it's slipping me. I'm sorry, Kentucky. Oh, Illinois probably. Yeah, as we're recording this, Illinois is up 13 on Xavier with
Oh, it
6
would
minutes
be
left in that
Illinois.
one. Yeah,
I'm be
yeah.
honest, I kind of like Illinois too. That's tough.
I
I was
don't
gonna
know,
pick
man. I
Florida State,
think
but I like Illinois.
this win felt important for Kentucky, just knowing where this program has been the past few years. Obviously, the Oakland loss last year. You had the St. Peter's loss 3 years ago. Knowing like Pope's well documented struggles in the tournament. This is his like first career win in the big dance. This feels like an important milestone to even shake off the slow start and have an emphatic victory at the end of this against an opponent that's like, again, it's not an NEC school. It's not like you just whipped up on a 16 seed or even like a Patriot League team or whatever. Like the Sun Belt has some respect on it in terms of mid-major conferences, and just getting over that initial hump as your roster gets more and more healthy. I don't know if I'm quite as skeptical on their long-term outlet as I thought. I mean, I picked them to the Sweet 16. I didn't feel great about it, but I do feel slightly better about that after this game.
Well, I feel like you have to be. What's the best way to describe this? It's a big game for Mark Pope because BYU and Arkansas won too. Let's just call it spade a
Mm-hmm.
spade.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Young went out there and got him one. Mark Pope didn't do that at BYU. Cal went out there and got him one, which he wasn't doing at Kentucky lately. So it
That's
kind of put all eyes on Mark Pope. Like, yo, those are the two dudes that were like kind of like, that's the combo. You better go get one.
uh-huh.
Then he
Uh-huh.
did.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's well said. I'm really interested to see like how does Kentucky build upon this? Just because I think even against power conference opponents, you're gonna be able to do some things that other teams are gonna struggle to counter when you have that combo of guys like Carr, Williams, and Garrison. As much as I think Butler to me is probably still the most important player on Kentucky in order for them to make a run. Just because you need him to recapture what he was in November and December before the shoulder injury happened, or else they're gonna flame out early. You know that you can't really have this was kind of your one mulligan where your point guard puts up 0 points. But
Hmm.
when you're able to get a healthier Andrew Carr, like I just think it adds a different dimension to what Kentucky can do offensively with inverting the offense and letting your bigs make decisions and having guys like Kobe Bray or Colin Chandler like run around them to get to relocate for an open three or something. So yeah, there's a lot of teams that will struggle to slow that down. And now that, they are starting to round up into shape, it's a good sign. I mean, 4 straight games now for Andrew Carr in double figures. I think that's huge for him. Just to recapture again, kind of like Lamont, some of that early season magic, and see how long they can ride this high for.
I I, I think they're going to be able to make a run. I don't know. I really like Illinois though. That Kentucky Illinois matchup is going to be a fun one.
See, I'm not huge into Illinois, so
Really.
yeah, give me. I don't. They just seem every time that like they're the epitome of like a tricked y'all type of team where I've bought into them several times throughout this year because the offense when it's clicking and it's like this positionless ball where they're sharing the rock, they're getting good shots, they bomb and make a bunch of threes, but it just seems like the lack of toughness, the lack of like I guess I would say inconsistent defense makes me pretty bearish on Kentucky to pull off a run. And I just think like or not Kentucky, sorry, makes me bearish on Illinois to pull off a run. And we'll be breaking down that game in its
Is
entirety, but
is it the term bullish?
bullish would be like I'm bullish is when you like something, bearish is when you don't like something.
Hmm.
Did I miss it's
The
late.
fact that there's two words to describe those is crazy for me.
I am bearish on Illinois, slightly more bullish on Kentucky.
Well, you
Here
got to
more
be bullish on one.
yeah,
Someone's got to win the game.
that's a good point. Then I'm bullish on Kentucky for that one. We'll be breaking that game down in more detail, telling you everything to watch out for that one on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. Make sure you stay tuned throughout March into that first week of April for all of your college basketball coverage.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.